Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to be unpacking something really mind-bending today, the ancient Vedantic mechanics of creation. And we're also going to discover how even our absolute greatest virtues can actually become a golden chain that ties us down. We're drawing from some profoundly deep insights in the Bhagavad Gita here, specifically looking at how reality manifests and how we get totally caught up in it.
Okay, let's just dive right into this with kind of a weird question. When you are in a really deep, dreamless sleep, right before your very first morning thought, where does your reality actually exist? I mean, where did the world go? Did it just vanish? It's a fascinating starting point because it forces us to question what reality actually is when we aren't actively there to observe it.
To answer that, we really have to understand this concept called srishti. But here is the key. Srishti is not about building something brand new out of thin air. Instead, it's more like a projection. It's the expression of one single, unmanifest consciousness into the vast, dizzying diversity of forms that we see every single day. All right, moving into Section 1, the cosmic reflector. Think of pure, unconditioned consciousness like a single sun up in the sky. You know you can't look at it directly without being completely blinded. But you can see its reflection bouncing off a pool of water, or say, 1,000 different buckets of water. That reflected light, that represents our visible, highly diverse world. You aren't actually seeing the sun directly, you're seeing its reflection animating all the objects around you. So that pool of water is what ancient texts call Maya, or Prakriti. Think of it as the ultimate cosmic reflector. It's the medium, like a grand cosmic mirror, that allows pure singular consciousness to reflect and manifest as absolutely everything around you. Because without the mirror, there's no reflection, right? And without the reflection, there is no visible world.
Which brings us to Section 2, micro and macro bodies.
Think about this for a second. Every single morning, you literally recreate your own universe. You start in deep sleep, which is entirely unmanifest. There are absolutely no thoughts, just pure potential. Then you start waking up. Thoughts and emotions begin to arise. This is your subtle body kicking in. And finally, you get out of bed and take physical action in the gross material world. It goes unmanifest to subtle to gross. Every single day.
And what's truly fascinating here is how your individual daily experience perfectly mirrors the mechanics of the entire universe. On the micro level, you have your Karan Sharir, the causal body of deep sleep. On a macro level, that exact same unmanifest state is called Ishvara. When your subtle thoughts arise, your Sukshma Sharir, the cosmic equivalent to that is Hiranyagarbha, literally the total mind of all beings. And when you finally act with your physical Sthula Sharir, the macro equivalent is Virat, the entire physical cosmos. It's literally as above, so below.
Now, all of this cosmic manifestation has a starting point. It begins in what is called Mahat Brahma. You can think of this as the macro womb or foundational nature, Mool Prakriti. It's this vast universal space where the seeds of all existence, of all living beings, are initially planted by pure consciousness, so they can begin their incredible journey into manifestation.
But the absolutely crucial thing to understand is what exactly those seeds are. Your individual seeds are your unfulfilled desires, known as vasanas. These are deep-seated impressions in your mind, and they demand a physical body and a physical world so they can continue to be experienced, chased, and hopefully resolved. Honestly, it's your desires that literally pull you out of sleep and into reality every single morning.
And that brings us to Section 3, the invisible leash. There's this massive paradox happening inside you right now. On one hand, your true nature is the free spirit. You are indestructible, unchangeable, pure consciousness. But on the other hand, you're operating a conditioned body, a body that gets hungry, gets tired, gets sick, and is heavily, heavily constrained by physical rules. Which naturally leads us to ask a pretty vital question. If we are fundamentally free and limitless at our core, why on earth do we feel so bogged down, stressed, and constrained by our daily lives? How does the limitless suddenly become so limited? Well, the source material uses a brilliant, genuinely funny analogy for this feeling of bondage. Imagine walking a really energetic dog on an invisible leash. You know, you think you're the one in control, walking the dog. But actually, the dog is dragging you all over the neighborhood. In the exact same way, it is usually our bodily desires and mental habits dragging our free spirit around, not the other way around. The leashes that are dragging us around are called the gunas. These are the three fundamental qualities of nature: sattva, rajas, and tamas. You can literally think of them as invisible ropes that bind the completely free spirit to the highly limited physical body. Every single thing in the physical universe is made up of a mix of these three ropes, constantly conditioning our experience. Let's look at the most deceptive of these ropes in our final section. Section 4, the golden chain. So if we focus exclusively on sattva for a minute, we see it described as nirmalam, which means pure and clear. It is prakashakam, meaning it's illuminating and knowledge-seeking. It's anamayam, completely healthy and free of distress. I mean, it sounds absolutely perfect, doesn't it? It represents this deep desire for knowledge, harmony, and profound peace. And on the surface, sattva seems flawless. When you are in a highly sattvic state, you experience a wonderful, completely transparent state of mind. You feel healthy, peaceful, and you carry this profound sense of joy and deep fulfillment. It's literally that beautiful, serene feeling you get right after a perfect meditation session or a really long walk in nature. But here is the hidden trap. Sattva actually binds us by creating a fierce attachment to that very happiness and knowledge. You suddenly start needing that specific peace just to feel okay. Or worse, you become deeply attached to your own spiritual progress, and you develop this ego about how much more you know than everyone else around you. Let's see how this plays out in real life. Say you have this beautiful, quiet morning meditation routine. You feel so pure, so serene, so incredibly peaceful. But then, someone in your family slams a door, or a neighbor's dog starts barking. If you are instantly thrown into a fit of rage because your perfect peace was interrupted, well, that is sattva acting as a leash. You've become addicted to the peace. There's this quote from the source material that really hits the nail on the head. By holding on to something which you like, you actually become weak and vulnerable to it. This brilliantly illustrates how our dependence on feeling good, even when it is spiritually good, secretly makes us incredibly fragile and super vulnerable to a world that is, let's face it, inherently chaotic. So, the ultimate takeaway of this explainer is a bit of a plot twist. While cultivating sattva is obviously highly desirable and absolutely a huge step up from chaos and ignorance, it is still just a golden chain. It might be beautifully crafted, it might be made of pure gold, but it is still a chain, keeping the free spirit tied down to the physical world, making you entirely dependent on specific conditions just to feel happy. Which leaves us with one final, highly provocative thought to ponder today. If even our most peaceful, pure states, our greatest virtues, and our deep spiritual knowledge are ultimately just a shiny form of bondage, what does absolute, unconditioned freedom actually require of us? How do we finally break the golden chain? Take some time to really think about that. And thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.